Welcome to Militantly Mixed, the podcast about race and identity from the mixed race perspective. I am your Sir Auntie, Sharmane Fury, and I am joined again by someone who, well, we haven't met in Meets. Oh, that's weird. I just realized I have an imagination like we've met in person, but we actually haven't met in person yet, have we? One of the few people that I've talked to many times, I guess, not met in Meet Space, Namalee Bolle. We are going to be participating in her upcoming online book launch for Mixed Multiracial Guide to Wellbeing, which we've talked about on this show before. And I have a little spot inside the book, which I'm excited about. But you're about to do an online book launch, which will be available for anybody all over the world. And I would like to talk to you a little bit about it so that people who listen to the show will know that they can join and watch and participate.
Sounds great, Charmaine. Thank you so much. No, I'm really excited to come back and speak to you about this. And, I'm really excited also that you're going to be, speaking at the event as well, because Militantly Mixed was something which, a podcast that I found really inspiring when I was writing the book. So
Thank
it's an honor to have you there as well. And to have so many, we're going to have so many international and UK voices that I also interviewed for the book.
you. Mhm.
And this is just super exciting for me.
I'm really glad. I mean, I'm appreciative already that you had invited me to be a part of the book. But when you had asked if I would be willing to pop into the event, I've been kind of in a transition period with myself and with the show, given everything that I've been going through. And I have been thinking about going more into the speaking side versus the weekly podcast side because I realize my stamina for weekly podcasting quite isn't there at the moment. And I do have a few things later in the year, but from the period of time of thinking, I think I want to do this to actually, when is there going to be an event that I should ask to be invited to? You had sent me a message like, hey, do you want to participate in this thing? It just kind of hit like
Goodness.
all at the right time. So I
Yeah.
am grateful to you that you considered me in the first place, but also just the timing happened the way that it did was so bizarre for me.
That is incredible. And I really feel like there's been so much flow with this book as well. And like
Mm,
with you, and just knowing that, before I knew you and I was listening to your podcast and I was writing the book and I think, all of the energies of the mixed community, like the international mixed community, I have
mhm.
really felt that like throughout writing this book. And now, being able to get to know you and like other people in the community, doing all this incredible, mixed activism work.
Yeah.
It's just like it just makes my heart sing. Honestly, I'm feel so honored and happy to have all you guys gathered together. It's just very, very exciting.
It's
Uh,
so bizarre, isn't it, too, where you of all the things that can be, "This is the thing I'm gonna focus my work on," or, "This is the thing I'm gonna focus my life on," to be just, like, being a mixed person as the seed of it, and then it grows into this odd kind of international family because some of the connections we've made have become, like, true friendships versus just
yeah,
like, "Oh, I've, kinda talked to you a couple times or whatever." I've actually now physically traveled to countries to see some of the people that I've been, on the show with, and you're sitting there in these moments like, I would never have met this person had
yeah.
I not decided to focus on mixed identity as part of the things that I do. And, even how I met you through
Mm,
Nina was a mixed creator as well, decided to do something, and because of
yeah.
that, I was connected to you, and now I'm in your book, which is insane to me that my name is printed in somebody's book. And
It's
the thrill, I think I talked about this when you were on my show before, the thrill of reading it, not knowing who was in the book, and every so often discovering a friend and thinking like, "This is so bizarre." Like, this so like, in a positive way that I'm using the
yeah.
word, but it's so bizarre.
Yeah, it is, and we're the fact that we're all global as well, we're all in different
Mm,
countries, like Nina, and then I met Nina through Shakira, who's in
mhm.
Austria and, does Mixed Girl Meetup and, these connections that were going round, and to hear this incredible work that, people have been doing this work, like you and like Shakira and like Nina, like you've been doing this work on your own, this with this, when we haven't even had the language to describe
Yeah,
mixed experience like properly yet. And this is incredible, incredible work,
yeah.
really depth, like powerful work. And I'm just in awe of everyone, to be perfectly honest. I'm just like fangirling everyone. I'm literally, I can't wait. I'm just so excited. And all of the people that contributed to my book as well, because I did a lot of interviews for that, certainly over 35 interviews, I think.
Yeah.
With so many different people, and all of their voices and all of their sharing and the courage to share what they did and to have it in print is remarkable. And I am so grateful to everybody who made a contribution. It's just incredible to bring this all together, because it's not an easy thing, to speak about mixed identity, because obviously we all are different, different cultures, different
Mm-hmm.
races, like different, to bring us all together and to find the threads. We seem to be able to do that between us. We're weaving this massive tapestry and saying, no, hang on a minute, guys, we all have something in common across the races, and it doesn't we don't make sense to the racial system, and
Yeah.
we're kind of now coming out and saying, yeah, and that's what brings us together.
Yeah. That's a really great way to say it. We don't make sense to the racial system.
Yeah.
That's actually
And
perfect.
it's, well, that's the thing. I'm really kind of enthusiastic about trying to get monoracial people to understand that, like,
Mm-hmm.
we're not here, we're so misunderstood. Our perspective is so easily dismissed, because when people are viewing us from a monoracial perspective and we're being shut down all the time,
Mm-hmm.
it's really difficult in terms of without the language to really express ourselves. And I see that happening all the time. And on one hand, I think it's incredible that the conversations are starting to happen in the
Mm-hmm.
world, and I can see in the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream it's fantastic, and I really applaud people having those conversations. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of grief in me as well, which
Sure.
is
Yeah.
which is like, please, like, we need to, monoracial people really need to understand that we're coming from a racially non-binary perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
we need space to develop that, and to really, expand that idea, and for it to land with also those people who might be sort of, projecting a certain narrative onto us, which we then, you know, internalize, basically. Well,
Right.
I'm doing it myself, like, it's taken me decades, so I'm not at all saying, oh, every mixed person needs to understand this now. But that's
Yeah.
why I wrote the book, so it would help, people to understand and come to the conclusion, and to be able to take our own power, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a jumping off point, because I think even as, like, the mixed podcaster type role that I have played for 8 years now, every now and then I get hit with something and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't realize that was part of the identity I still need to work on," or, this is not a I finally achieved enlightenment of all mixedness and I can just move on. It's,
No.
this is something you're gonna have to deal with your whole life, and it can be because of where you're living, where move, what your
100%.
career path is. There's so many things that have this odd impact into
Yeah.
our identity as mixed people and just identity in general too.
Yeah.
So being able to continue to have these conversations and read books now that there are books, and what I would still say is like the start of a language, although we definitely have more of a language today than we had 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We're going to be constantly developing this language of how to communicate amongst ourselves as a community, and also, like you said, to the monoracial people on the outside that um, they don't have a basis for comparison
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
same way that we kind of don't.
Yeah, I think what we really need is, what I'm really interested in working on now is, you know, monoracial allies, and
Mm,
kind of communicating to them how they might be able to kind of help us to open up space, because I
mhm,
think oftentimes our conversation gets shut down because of the monoracial lens that is so dominant. And
mhm.
we take that in and kind of see ourselves in that way. That's what I deal with a lot in therapy, and it's like trying to undo this kind of thinking, this binary thinking. And it's hard with race, obviously, because of the race system. That's why we kind of come into this sort of this sort of we get shut down, because it's kind of inherent
Mhm.
in the system. I don't think people are like trying to shut us down necessarily consciously, but I think it's inherent in the system of race
Right.
to shut down mixed people because of the history of mixed identity.
Right.
We've got a big history of, we don't know what to do with these
Yeah.
people,
You
being
don't look
shy.
like me. I'm confused.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's a lot, it facilitates the race system, doesn't it? If we are kind of marginalized,
Yes.
it's not, we won't be in our power if we don't kind of stand up and say, hang on a minute, you know,
Right.
the race system is a creation. Yes, of course it exists because we exist, we have colonialism that's affected people for, generations, and racism, which is obviously alive.
Yeah.
But as a result of this system that was created, mixed people are just people within
Yeah.
this, marginalized system that we find ourselves.
Right. So with the book online book launch, your book has been out for a little while, so you've been able to
Yes.
start to get a little bit of feedback. I do wanna talk about the launch, of course, because we want people to join
Yeah.
and watch us live and everything. But what response do you think, or what response have you received so far from people who have gotten a chance to read it through?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having lovely, lovely conversations with people. I've been receiving a lot of emails, people reaching out with children, and
Mm.
it's very heartwarming to hear, that there is an awareness of that this work is needing to be done, and that we don't have many spaces to do it in. And
Mhm.
one of the really wonderful things was, I mean, we did a live book launch at,
Mhm.
at a bookstore called Houseman's, which is a really wonderful radical bookstore in London, kind of
Mm.
this, really legendary place. And I did that book launch with Jasa Aluwalia, who wrote Both Not Half, the iconic Both Not Half, and really put that out into the atmosphere for mixed people,
Mhm.
good few years ago now. So it was wonderful to work with Jassa on that, the first kind of getting it out there, and we did that. That was just such a wonderful experience. And we were packed out in Houseman's. We sold out in, I think, 3 days.
That's
We
great.
had people traveling from all over the country. There was a couple that came with a small baby on a Saturday evening,
Mm.
come to say, we are a mixed race family,
Yeah.
and we know that this work is important, and we really want to do this work for our child.
Yeah.
And what was so wonderful, and the way that me and Jassa planned the event as well, as we really wanted to make it a safe space for mixed people to share their experiences. And so
Mhm.
we opened up quite early on for people to be able to share with us. And
Okay.
and, and that was just, for me, it was like, my goodness, everything I could have wished for, really, as a kind
Yeah.
of launch, and that really got me thinking in terms of, I wrote the book because I want people to open up their own stories and find their own way. And I did say in the book as well, my experience is only one experience. That's
Mhm.
why there's such a kind of large amount of people, voices across the board. And that's kind of what I want to do when I create these spaces as well, is to invite other people, because as we, as mixed people, we all have like different experiences, and so many
Mhm.
of us haven't been heard. And I really want to invite that in every space, and I want to bring that same energy into the online book launch space. And it was inspired by the original live book launch that we decided to do this online version as well, and also to invite international
Right.
folk, and some of the international contributors who in people who couldn't be there, couldn't come to,
Yeah.
we were in London, maybe some people couldn't travel, from England, and I wanted people to feel included as much as possible. So opening up this online space is kind of easier for people, and obviously invites that international component, which is really, really important, especially because a lot of the threads of the book were supported by people like yourself and
Mhm.
international mixed community, and us talking about the similarities and differences, but actually it's a very global community, this mixed activist community.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate being a part of it, because I I think I was traveling around the time already that your, in-person one, but it would have been one of those things that if I could have made it work, I would have tried to get there for just really for the experience of it's not a lot of times that you're going to be in a room full of mixed people. And so
Yeah.
when those opportunities present themselves, if I can afford it, if I can make it work, I would love to go to that. So in that respect, I'm really excited to be a part of the online one.
Yeah.
One, because I know I'll be able to make it. But two, just to connect also with other people that were in the book, besides the folks that I know that are in the book, meeting some of the stories, connecting the people to the stories that I've read in your book and everything, I think would be really great. What do you hope the audience kind of brings emotionally or mentally or whatever to participating in the online launch?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope, for mixed people that they feel, seen and heard. Like that's for me is absolutely, and I know for Yvonne as well, who
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be speaking with, who's, life's work has been doing this mixed activism, amongst all different other, anti-racist activism, all different kinds of activism. She has really been pushing this narrative for, longer than me and many of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that she created Kaleidoscope, this ongoing, now is ongoing on a yearly basis, mixed mental health event. And to create the level of safety that she creates in her spaces opens up so much for mixed people to be able to see themselves. And I know that for her, and for both, for me included as well, I know that we're kind of um on the same field there. Like we both
Mm-hmm.
want to do that. We want mixed people to be able to have a space to feel seen and heard, and maybe open up some questions. We're going to be taking questions from people. We want them to feel involved. We want them to feel supported. You guys are obviously going to be speaking about, how you've supported your own mixed mental health, which is going to be incredible information for them that they probably maybe haven't heard, before. This is, from all of these amazing people. So yeah, just to create this kind of safety, and also for, to invite monoracial friends to come in and to listen, and to really be present with mixed storytelling and mixed people's experiences, and to be witness to us, because
Mm-hmm.
not to kind of assume that the mixed, because I know there are certain cliches, and that too,
Sure.
about the mixed experience, which sometimes we get told to us. And I know that I've experienced this myself, that I just, I've gone along with what people have said about me. I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
book about a wonderful therapist that I had, who who I had a conversation with, and I kind of just, it took me a really long time to kind of challenge what the therapist had told me about my mixed identity, because I'd never been offered a space before where I could
Mm-hmm.
really feel safe to say, well, actually, no, like it's like
Right.
for me. And to give myself that, I think permission is a massive word.
Yeah.
That was very much a theme of, like, with me and Jassa at the original live launch that we did. And he opens in the chapter that is about permission, and I feel like he's a really strong voice in that. And that's kind of what I want to work towards with mixed people, is to, well, how do we cultivate that, like, really precious voice, and how do we find that permission to kind of go out and, like, stand in your power when,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some of the world doesn't get what you're talking about yet.
Right. Um, Before we get too far in, I want to make sure everybody knows how to find out how to access the online event.
Yes.
Of course, I'll put links and everything in the show notes and in my spaces, but let everybody know how they can sign up to participate and watch. And I will
Sure.
also put it on the screen for folks too.
Yeah, great. No, so it basically, go to this platform, onlineevents.co.uk, and you can find the launch is called Navigating Mixed and Multiracial Mental Health online book launch. If you just, like, type that in, we'll have a link on with what you said as well. So yeah, and it'll just talk you through, how, and the tickets as well. We've tried to make it as accessible as possible, so you can get a
Mhm.
ticket for £1. I think, if you want to, that's absolutely fine. Like, don't be afraid to just come and go for the lowest cost. That's completely fine. I would prefer for people to have access to the event. That's really, really important for us. So
Right.
yeah, come along no matter where you are. And also, if you can't make the actual time, register for the event and you'll get sent the video. So,
Okay. Yeah.
if you kind of do low cost and just get the video, then you can watch it back in your own time.
That's great. In terms of accessibility, I think that's really important. So this is done as a pay as you can, or do you have
Yeah,
tiers? Okay.
as you can. I think there's tiers. Like if you can afford it, then obviously pay the full rate. But
Hmm.
I'm really encouraging people to, to more than anything, to come along and get the information. It's going to be the
Right.
most incredible, up to date, you know, information about mixed identity with all of these incredible thought leaders in, the mixed and multiracial field, and all of us coming together from mental health and from media, all of from all of these worlds kind of
Yeah.
in a space for 2 hours, and it's just such precious information that I want people to have access to. I know that everybody involved wants that too, so
Right. Yeah. No, that's great. Okay, so everybody who is either listening only or watching, if you're listening only, go into the show notes of whatever platform you're listening on this. There'll be links to the online event platform. Of course, you can go to Instagram and it'll be, I assume it's in your bio links maybe
yes,
on
yeah,
Instagram.
at
Okay.
Mixed Therapist, yeah,
Okay. So there'll be access depending on how you get us through YouTube, the podcast platforms, or Instagram. And if you have friends or anything that you think it might be beneficial to, I mean, I assume you could probably even buy them a gift access to
yeah,
it, because there's a
yeah,
lot of people that need this community. We need community in whatever all of our different elements. We need community so that we're not in isolation. But there are a lot of people that are, maybe too nervous to access
totally,
what is available. There was a period of time there wasn't anything available. Now that there is things available, a lot of people are nervous about, accessing us. And, I
yeah,
guess in this respect, it's a low buy-in way to do it because it's online. You can just watch and everything like that. And then hopefully through that connect to the people that would benefit you in terms of how you're developing within your mixed identity and mental health.
absolutely. And I also want to say, for families with mixed, family, children, family members, don't be scared to sign up and come along and listen. And,
Mhm.
it's really, really important for families as well, and people who know mixed people, maybe just want to know a bit more about them, and
Yeah.
don't, and just want to learn. That would be, that's incredible. And we welcome you as well.
Mhm. That is great. Thank you so much for coming back on so that we can tell everybody about the event. Thank you for inviting me to the event and including me in your book. Is there any last words that you want to make sure you get out before we wrap this up?
Just just come along and bring your enthusiasm, and, bring your questions. Just, we're really excited to have you. We really, really are. So we welcome you.
Thank you so much. And for
Thank you.
everybody out there, don't forget, be your mixed self.